So Twisted is a party game for the Panasonic 3DO that allows up to 4 players to play in a virtual game show of sorts, revolving around trivia questions, matching games, and generally a humorous overtone of TV, television, boob-tube culture. Besides being a party game made in 1993, years before Mario Party made the genre much more famous, Twisted stands out as a special game for a number of reasons. Firstly, by virtue of being a game on a 3DO, Twisted relies heavily on full-motion video in order to build its art assets and build its world. Twisted employs the boob-tube television theme to great effect in order to leverage these sorts of art assets. Human actors that are being used look natural because they're on TV, not in some fantasy environment. And other cutaway videos like silly commercials can be used very easily and naturally with full-motion video and still, again, loop back around and bring back in this idea that you're watching a television show. You're watching this silly game show. Twisted is also very upfront and loud about its sarcastic sense of humor. This can be seen with its usage of the tropes commonly associated with game shows.
And what happens then, Ray?
Well, Twink, our lucky winner will receive a one-way trip out of this TV wasteland into whatever the hell's on the other side of the screen.
Ooh, I hear reality is just beautiful this time of year.
The host has a lot of dark, offhand comments about how the place they're in is kind of a trap, and all these characters that are playing the game are very sad in and of themselves, while at the same time putting on this loud grin and acting very excited and electric about the fact that you're playing Twisted. The host's assistant is constantly berating the players with physical comedy, putting her finger in her mouth, making whoopee-doo motions, and while not saying a whole lot, always acting as a foil to the enthusiasm of the host. She's pretty pessimistic that you're able to do anything really useful, whereas the host is excited that you're even in the room. And even the contestants themselves are all parodies of some sort of television trope, like the used car salesman on a commercial, or the television evangelist who's just really asking for money and using his religion as a way of running business. These really all work together to make a fun, tongue-in-cheek experience. And the silly sense of humor in the game goes beyond just the television theme. There's even a sense of non sequitur in Twisted. My favorite example is one of the characters you can choose, whose name is Uncle Fez. He's a parody on a Pez dispenser, and he's essentially just a 3-foot tall column that spits out candy and has a funny voice and wears a Fez hat. He has nothing to do with the rest of the game's theme, but it's a nice little comedic jab when you are introduced to the first set of players and they're all these television tropes, and all of a sudden there's a cartoon candy dispenser. He easily stands out as just the funnest character of them all because of that.
Yeah!
The strangeness continues when you look at the art assets used for the minigames themselves. Odd imagery like the usage of tribal masks or fish are used for some of their minigames. There's also significant use of stock footage, such as nuclear test footage, old cowboy movies, and other old drama movies in the various minigames and interludes and bumpers between the segments of the game. By using all these tools, Twisted gave me a lot to like about the game. The game itself is very easy to pick up and play. Most of the minigames are very simple. They amount to matching games or sliding tile games. This makes for something that's very easy for non-gamers to pick up and play. The themes throughout are very inoffensive and still silly. You're laughing, but you're never going to be afraid of who plays the game with you and whether they're going to be offended or not. And the skill requirement for all these are fairly low. Someone who can play some Trivial Pursuit or do simple puzzles would be more than at home playing Twisted. This makes it a very inclusive game. It makes it very easy to bring in other friends.
Garment is hand-sewn with 198 stitches and is made of genuine 6-carat simu gold.
They're measures in it, it slices, it dices, it carves firewood, it even performs surgery on those hard-to-reach organs.
Now back to Twink Fizdale and more Twisted!
The game is also very attractive because of its fast pace and high energy. The background music has this constant forward-moving motion, kind of like a game show, to get you excited and get you thrilled. All the voiceovers and actors are also very enthusiastic. They want you to be playing, and they want the actors to be continuing the scene and interacting with each other.
Keep cool, Daddy-o.
The editing between scenes itself is also very hard and quick. You'll see someone hold a bomb, and just when you think they're about to react, it'll cut to an explosion, and then just when the explosion finishes, we cut to the host again. All this is giving that constant forward motion. There's even high energy in the character animations themselves. People are putting their hands up in the air, they're throwing shadow punches, or generally just their balled up energy getting ready to explode. And this mixture of high energy and all the themes that are working give every scene something to laugh at, something for you to pay attention to. And this really reinforces the group experience, which is important to a party game. You want your friends to come over and all interact in this game and share in this joined experience.
To get off the wheel, press the A button on 3 of a kind.
And it's not even all just aesthetics. Twisted provides just a little bit of strategy to keep people invested in the game. When choosing a minigame, there's a player alternation that takes place. One player whose turn it currently is not chooses a row in this 3x3 grid of possible minigames. The player whose turn it is then chooses a column. Neither player knows what the other is going to pick, so there's a little bit of tension and mind games that go on. And you can see this reflected in the grid itself. Certain patterns will make you think twice about whether you want to pick a certain column or a certain row. You don't know if you're going to get screwed over or if you could take a risk and potentially get the high reward. This again drives that idea that players are interacting with each other as well as with the software.
Rollin', 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 rollin'.
Overall, this is a game that just radiates fun. You could really tell the developers and the actors and everyone involved had a real good time. People are smiling, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of love in this game. And while it's weird and strange to start, given the loud themes and the heavy usage of FMV, something not familiar with modern games, Twisted is a game that is very inclusive. It's very easy to bring people in. Parents, cousins, people that you want to interact with that don't play games could very easily pick up and enjoy Twisted. There's a lot of ins for you. If you're not into games, you could be into matching games. If you're not into any of that, then you'll at least get something out of the aesthetics that are available.
Sound bites!
And honestly, the most surprising part about this game is it's a lot funnier than a tacky FMV game show has any right to be. I have a lot of biases going into an FMV game after playing Sega CD games and being a participant in the internet, but when I put in Twisted for the first time just to test it for video capture, I was laughing at the screen. I was legitimately feeling joy. And that continued when playing with my friends. And this is a very special thing that you don't get with every game you play. I can't recommend playing Twisted enough for that reason. You will, honest to goodness, just have a fun time. Now, whether it's worth buying a 3DO for or not, I don't know. That depends how much money you're willing to spend on antiquated game consoles. But certainly if you have a 3DO, Twisted should definitely be part of your collection. It's inclusive, it's easy, and it's fun, and that's really all you could ask for from a game. Twisted definitely made for a very fun afternoon and a nice break from other games to play during the NFGL season. And really, a lot of these qualities are what the NFGL is about. It's about enjoying strange games you wouldn't normally play and sharing them with friends. So in that respect, this was a perfect game to play.